Last night I decided to go on Netflix and see if there's anything good on there, and I found Helix. I've heard about that show before and I've seen it, and I didn't watch it because the ads for it and the previews for it made it look like it was absolutely awful. And so I watched the first episode, and it was absolutely awful. So everybody in this uh, show or story is just a massive cliche. There's an evil scientist. There's the indeterminate age scientist who could be possibly middle age or possibly older. And oh, surprise, he has an ex-wife. And uh-oh, they work together. And uh-oh, he's got a young assistant, I guess. They don't really make it clear who she is, if she's an assistant or if she's a doctor or whatever. She's just there, and they don't even let us know. I guess we're supposed to know from what she does, even though she clearly has no idea what she's doing. And I'll explain why she doesn't know what she's doing. And so it starts out with some dude dying from something, and then the evil scientist guy says, "Would you like some water?" And I guess that's supposed to be like the intro, like the attention grabber. Now it would be interesting if over the episode water had anything to do with whatever they have. Like, oh, look at this! This guy keeps going after water. No, he doesn't. That entire thing was pointless. I guess maybe because I'm not watching the rest of the episodes. I'm sure it's pointless because they didn't explain any of it the first time around in the first episode. So I'm not watching the rest of it. And so then they suddenly go to the CDC, and we meet our main character, middle-aged scientist man, and his young assistant, because of course all middle-aged scientist men have young, beautiful assistants that are always told by the director to stand and act like a model at all times. And that's exactly what she does. It looks like she's modeling the whole time. And the director who did that was a giant jackass, because maybe he should have said, just stand like a normal person. Nope, can't do it. And so then suddenly we're in this. The whole thing is supposed to look like a classroom. It turns out it's not a classroom, because at the end of it he says, "Oh, now you guys, since you guys are CDC field officers, you're going to see this stuff." But they're acting like they've never been educated on anything. Now, maybe like the CDC is an educational organization now. Maybe, I don't know. But they all seem to be like, oh, when he explained the history of whatever they call the study of diseases, and they said, well, they used to think bad air spread diseases, and they laughed about it. But that doesn't make any sense, because if they're working at the CDC, that means they presumably went through college. I bet there's some doctors in there. I guess they never learned history, because they would have already known that. And it makes me wonder, why is he even telling them that? And then he says something, 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 and says, and then cholera. And he's got a vial of supposedly cholera, which it isn't cholera. Apparently everybody believes him for some reason. I don't know why. And he says, oh, it's actually scotch. And so that's a bad idea, to put something drinkable into a vial that could contain cholera or any other disease. If you go into like a lab, even in high school, to say don't drink anything out of any of the equipment at all. Just don't drink anything at all in there, because you don't know what you're about to drink. It could be water, it could be acid, it could be nasty diseases. But here this guy says, oh, who cares? I've got a little vial of something and you guys don't know what it is. And technically I don't know either. Somebody could have switched this on me. Hopefully he didn't drink it. And then suddenly the base in the Antarctic, where the virus is at. For some reason, they sent out a distress signal, even though everybody there is okay, except for the people that died. Like, it's not like it's a zombie place. Everybody's just kind of, just going about their day. So I don't know what they meant by a distress signal. I guess I'm assuming what it means is that somebody who wasn't supposed to send it sent it, and that's supposed to be a big shock later on. Or maybe they purposely sent it to lure people in to test on them. I don't know, because I don't care. And then they eventually go to the Arctic base, and it has wind turbines, despite the fact that they clearly said that jet fuel will turn the jelly in those temperatures. And I guess somebody wasn't aware that turbines use grease and oil for all the bearings. I guess the insides of those are heated. Maybe. And so I guess that's okay. What's not okay is that this base has solar panels on the top of them. I'm assuming they're solar panels because they look like solar panels. And when you're that far north or south, or where, I'm not really sure where they're supposed to be. I think north, because they did say above the 85th parallel or something. I don't know. They have solar panels. When you're that far north, you're barely getting any sunlight. Those solar panels are doing nothing. But that's not the only dumb thing about this base. Despite the fact that it's just built like a normal building, except kind of circular, there's no snow building up on it. Despite the fact that the entire time it's snowing constantly, all the time. And we know they have no method to remove the snow, because sometimes you get to see from the inside to the outside, and there's snow built up along the bottom of the windows. Now you might think they're heating the outside of the building so the snow will melt, which they're obviously not doing because there's snow building up on the windows. But let's say they are doing that. When that snow melts and it leaves the building, it's going to freeze and turn into ice. And so as the water goes down and freezes, it's going to build up next to the building, and you're just going to get this wall of ice. And eventually the water won't be able to get away from the building anymore. So you're going to have this wall of ice holding back water. And that's not happening. Like, how did they do that? Did they have somebody going around just getting rid of the snow? Because I didn't see anybody doing that. There actually is a base at the South Pole, and they found out that after many attempts, the best way to deal with the snow is to put the whole base on stilts that can be moved up and down, and design it so that when the snow comes in, it can be more easily blown through the bottom. Kind of like the wing, I guess, sort of. So as the wind comes in, it speeds up and blows the snow out from under it. And so it looks like kind of just like a normal building, except it's up on stilts. And it's made out of metal. Because metal's cool. And so they go inside, and there's a dumb thing like every single minute in this show. And they say, "Oh, here we're gonna put an RFID chip right here, right there, right here." So I don't know. Oh, and it works, by the way. And these RFID chips are massively huge. You can see them through the skin, and they have lights on them for some reason. I don't know why. Like, is that so you can chat? Oh yeah, I still have it in there. Yep, I still have it there. Oh yeah, it's still there. I don't know why there needs to be lights on it that are blinking. Because RFID chips don't need power. So they're just purposely making it more complicated than it has to be. If you don't know how RFID chips work, when they go near whatever detects them, it gets power from that little field of, I guess, wirelessness. It gets enough power from that to send out what is either a number or letter, just a couple of characters. If you have a cat or a dog and you've got you've ever microchipped them, that's what that is. That's just an RFID chip. Anyway, they put it right here. So I want you to feel around Can you find a spot or a massive pill-sized RFID chip with lights on it that you can see through your skin would fit? Because I don't see it. That's because you can't put it there. It's like you got your fatnesses and some muscle there. Like there is no room for an RFID chip. You could put it right here, right there, between the thumb and your other fingers, but it'd have to be tiny, which they are tiny, by the way. They don't look like they do in the show. And another thing is, nobody seems to care that they did it. It's like, oh, sure, here you go. Oh, you put it in there. Like, nobody yelled. Nobody. It's like it didn't hurt. You're telling me this gigantic pill that was just rammed into your hand didn't hurt? It didn't bleed either. I guess so. And so a whole bunch of other stupid things happen. The young assistant, who we don't know what she really does, she says, "Do you have a T1 line here?" Which is the dumbest thing to say. And the guy says, "No, we don't." And she says, "Oh man, this is going to take a long time to upload stuff." So first off, upload it via what? I guess satellite? He didn't say that they use satellites. You just assume that because they don't have a T1 line. And let me tell you what a T1 line is. It is a 1.5 megabit connection. And it's still used by people today in some areas. Because, like in rural areas, simply because the ISPs are too cheap to run stuff out there. But it is obsolete. So I don't know why she would say, "Oh, do you have a T1 line here?" It's the dumbest thing she could have ever said. And so the guy standing next to her says, "Oh no, we got a 10 gigabit fiber optic line out here." She says, "Oh, I didn't realize the security guys are so smart." What? Knowing the facts about the base means they're smart, super smart? And we're going to skip through a whole lot of bullcrap. I mean, this just goes nowhere. The middle-aged man's brother is there, and he's the one that's sick. And his blood is black. And they're trying to figure out what the cause of the disease is. And they're using just a regular visible light microscope. And they can't find what's causing it because they don't see anything. They don't recognize anything. And then the young assistant says, "Oh, maybe it's some ancient virus they dug up that was frozen in the ice." And then she looks and says, "Oh, here it is. Now that I know what to look for." And they show it, and it's this little worm thing that's moving around. Like she wouldn't have noticed that. Like she thought, "Oh, well, that's obviously a normal thing. This little worm thing moving around." Oh, but that's not the dumbest part. It's 15 nanometers. So visible light does not go down to 15 nanometers. So may I ask how you were using a visible light microscope to see something that tiny? Now you can. There's ways to get down that small. Like the best way would be an electron microscope. Unfortunately, I don't know if you can actually use optics to see smaller than the wavelength of visible light. Now the fact that the writers of the show had no clue what they're doing, I'm assuming that they had no clue that visible light doesn't go down to 15 nanometers. I mean, they didn't know that apparently a worm moving around in a sample should be interesting until they realize that they're looking for something not normal. It's very, very, very angry. It's a very angry time for me. What other dumb things happen? So Southern Lady, I forgot to tell you about Southern Lady. She's a jerk because she's fat and she's Southern, I assume that's why they cast her. I'm sure in the script it says, "Find a cliche Southern fat woman." That's what our character is going to be. She's going to be a cliche Southern fat woman And all Southern fat women are either incredibly not angry, just complete jackasses all the time, or like your sweet grandmother all the time, and she's just a jackass all the time. Oh, sorry, Sadie. I scared my cat. Oh crap! Now I don't remember where I am. Well, this is like 15 minutes now. Yeah, she was a cliche jackass. And so they're going around. And she says, "Oh, where's your monkeys?" And the guy says, "Oh, we don't have monkeys." And then she finds out, yeah, they do have monkeys. And so then they decide to wander around the base trying to find the monkeys. And this is a big base, by the way, so I don't know how they were going to find it. But, oh, by accident they do. They find a place that they can't get into, and so they literally break it open. I don't know what they were planning on saying if they didn't find anything. When they say, "Hey, why'd you guys break this thing?" Oh, we were just looking for stuff. But it turns out we were wrong. But thankfully, the script said there was stuff back there. There was a CG monkey back there for some reason, because I guess the monkey's back there. They forgot about the CG monkey was in there. I know I'm making it sound dumb, but that's because it is. And then a little bit later, there's this military guy. He goes outside with his little satellite dish, and he gets a message or sends a message or something. I don't care. I'm sure they explain it later. No, I'm sure they don't. And then he picks up, he turns around, and he's like, that's weird. And he turns back around the way he was just facing. Oh, there's a whole bunch of dead monkeys out here. Did he not notice that? That there were a whole bunch of dead monkeys right in front of him? Because they were beyond the black? If you don't know what beyond the black means, everything past here, and everything past here, and everything past the camera doesn't exist when in beyond the black. That means, I've got Pepper right there, but because the camera does not see her, that means she doesn't exist. So I could look over there and say, "Oh, look, there's nothing over there at all." There's a kitty! It wasn't there 2 seconds ago. That's beyond the black. And then it turns out the guy's brother escapes. Nobody wonders how he managed to jump like 20 feet in the air to get into the air vents, which, by the way, are all human-sized for some reason. And these are the cleanest air vents ever, too, just like all cliche air vents. There's not a speck of dust in there. There's dust just everywhere in here, like just normally. And apparently a place where lots of air goes through all the time is not going to have a bit of dust in it. And so they find a dead guy. They don't know why they took the hand that has the RFID chip in it, because they're idiots. And then the guy's brother is walking around and he starts killing people. And that's the end of the first episode. It sucked. It was terrible. I know it doesn't make a whole lot of sense when I explain it, but that's because none of it made any sense. It was just awful. It sucked. I didn't like it. Hey, where's my cats? I don't see them. Oh, where are they? Huh. Maybe I'll turn it around and, oh, there they are! Oh. What? Where are they? My cats are gone again. Where'd they go? Oh, I can't find them. Well, I better have a cliffhanger that nobody cares about. Goodbye.